Guess who's back? It's Rick and Rick's horror review show, Rick's Rated R horror review show, where we review all things related to horror, but specifically, we like to talk about horror movies. But tonight, it's a special episode because we're going to talk about a horror miniseries, not a horror movie. A horror miniseries is a giant horror movie, and this one's good. It's got resurrections and creepy haunted houses and a tremendously gothic, scary soundtrack. And it's based on the work of a well-known author, Edgar Allan Poe, and his miniseries, collection of mini stories. Sorry, not miniseries. Why you just started making mistakes already? It's not even 2 minutes in, and you're already making mistakes. See, that's the reason why I should stick around more often, just to call things out, so make yourself a little better than that. Well, I'll tell you what. What, you'd rather have Johnson here giving you ideas and correcting you on this? I know you love Johnson's ideas. We're going to call Johnson and have him be on the podcast for you to share his ideas with, because you love to listen to him, don't you? You know what? No, you can stay. All right, well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'll just stay here quietly and listening. Tonight's episode. The Fall of Usher House, Episode 1, A Midnight Dreary. This is an 8-part miniseries, I believe. And we're going to talk about the first one tonight. And as always, this is a spoiler-full review. So this will be a spoiler-full review of the first episode of The Fall of the Usher House. Now, that doesn't sound repetitive. I don't know what does. I hope you're not new to the show, but if you are, we have a very simple format around here. We're going to talk about the things I liked, the things I didn't like. We'll do a plot review and commentary, but we won't do analysis because we're not experts. We're not Roger, and he's not Ebert. Well, I could be Ebert if I totally could be. I remember Ebert. And then we'll do a rating. So let's get started. Things I liked about this show. Mike Flanagan at it again. If you're not familiar with Mike Flanagan's work, we should really research it. He has done Midnight Mass. He did Midnight Club. Haunting of Blythe Manor, and I don't have any complaints about the stuff I've seen. I think it's amazing. I really like that Midnight Club one. It was a real interesting show, like with all the thing. Wait, hold on. You're gonna ruin it for people who haven't seen. Wow, you said this is a full review of things, ain't it? They should already have seen that. That's like from 2 years ago. All right, we'll let it pass. You can continue. Well, that's that one. What was I talking about now? I forgot. Was I talking about my granddaddy's car again? No, you weren't. Just forget it. Well, all right. So Mike Flanagan's work, phenomenal. The cast, familiar cast, diverse cast. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, Rick, you always say that you don't like when you know the actors because you love not knowing who they are so that you can get more into the story. They feel like real people to you. Now you're saying that you enjoy the fact that it's familiar cast? Yeah. I am. I like these actors. They've been in a lot of Mike Flanagan's stuff, and I enjoy them. And it's a very diverse cast. Bruce Greenwood joining the cast for the first time. Now, if you don't know who Bruce Greenwood is, I know who Bruce Greenwood is. Do you know who Bruce Greenwood is? Well, I know who Bruce Greenwood is. He plays Captain Pike on that Star Trek movie. Those movies are really good. You should do a review on a Star Trek movie, maybe. I'd love to, but they're not exactly horror things. Well, there's a lot of horrors that happen in space. Maybe you can just, talk about some of the horrors of space and start talking about Star Trek stuff in there, Space is a scary place. It's very scary. There's no atmosphere to save you from incoming comet. One of them micro meteors could just hit your spaceship and die. Now, if that's not horror, I don't know what is. What if you run out of oxygen, or you consuming oxygen at a greater rate than you're supposed to because you're just doing things you're not supposed to, or all kinds of horrors just waiting to happen out in space. Wow, you are absolutely right. I think maybe at some point we can do all the horrors and say, Well, I surely hope so, because that would be a real fun episode. I love Star Trek. I love Star Trek too. Cool. Anyway, diverse cast: Bruce Greenwood, who plays Captain Pike in the Star Trek movies. Thank you. Scary old house. Oh, creepy old house. Beautiful, ugly, just dilapidated, paint peeling off, no lights, candlelit, dark, beautiful. A resurrection. Someone who presumably dies. Well, not presumably dies. Someone who dies and is resurrected. You can't be resurrected if you presumably die. You must die in order to be resurrected. Beautiful filming locations, including the set that's a house. There's other sets as well. The dining table, the church. I think it's a very famous church in New York City, maybe. But anyway, just beautiful locations in general. Captivating, enthralling, beautiful music. This just really sets the mood and accentuates the mood. Never really overpowers what we're seeing on screen, but just really complements it in a really good way. Things I didn't like. Not much. Nothing worth mentioning. Not this one. Not tonight. There's a lot of things we didn't like about the last episode we talked about. You talking about Infinity Pool? You didn't like that one. You gave that one a 1 out of 10, didn't you? I did. If you haven't seen Infinity Pool, it's been spoiled for you in the previous review. So go watch, or rather go listen to that review. Don't watch the movie. Just listen to go watch the movie if you want, but certainly listen to the review. Anyway, let's get right into this meat of this. This is a fun story. Again, this is all based on Edgar Allan Poe stuff. Edgar Allan Poe. The story begins, it doesn't necessarily begin. The story begins an opening shot of this New Year's Eve party, 1979 or something, and they're playing a song by Pink Floyd. What's the song by Pink Floyd they were playing? I think they were playing Another Brick on the Wall. That's right. I think they were. So everybody's celebrating. It's about to be 1980. We don't get to see much. We move on to other shots. We start to see Roderick, who is the main character, who's played by Bruce Greenwood. And eventually Roderick starts to tell the story of his life. We see him in the church. But I want to talk about something that happens a little later in the show, but takes place before. Something that is a flashback to 1962, where Roderick and his sister, I think it's Madeline. Yeah, Roderick and Madeline, they're in a creepy house that isn't creepy yet. It's a beautiful house in 1962. Well, they actually do a previous shot like in 1953, same house, and they go and Roderick himself and Madeline are like peeking over this huge, amazing looking house in the neighborhood as well. What was his name? Longfellow. And they're looking at this house because he's their mother's employee, Mr. Longfellow. But he was like a horrible human being, and they're peeking over his house, and it's beautiful. And of course he comes out and starts yelling, "Get off my lawn, you lousy children. You don't belong here. Go back to where you came from. Where's your mother? And now look at this. Look at you. You cut yourself on my fence. Now your dirty blood is all over my lawn. What we gonna do about this? Huh? Get out of here. Nobody wants you here. And you too. Take your sister and run." And in the meantime, their mother, Eliza, comes around and starts making excuses or saying sorry. I'm really sorry, Roderick and Madeline, boys and girls will be boys and girls. They're just out here doing their thing, Mr. Longfellow. We're really sorry about all this, but, they're just peeking over this beautiful house of yours. And seeing as you're all my employee and all, I wouldn't think it'd be a big deal about it. But listen, I understand. We'll just take the children and we'll be out of here in no time. And his wife comes out, Longfellow's wife. It's like, who the hell is in there? Whose children are these? Longfellow, whose children are these? And Longfellow, of course, is like, well, this is my Eliza and her lousy children. Get them out of here. Eliza, get on out of here. I'll see you at work. So this is an important scene because it appears that Eliza may or may not have had an affair with William Longfellow, the CEO of the company that she works for, Fortunato. It's Italian. Fortunato. She's the CEO of Fortunato, and he has been the mother's employee for quite some time. And then we flash forward to another scene. It's now 1962, and it's again the children, now teenagers, Roderick and Madeline, and Eliza in the same creepy house. And now that house is full of, I couldn't get this last time we were in this, crucifixes. When we were doing the Exorcist review, I was looking for the word crucifix. Oh, you found it now. That's Jesus on the cross. That's right, Jesus on the cross. So the house is full of crucifixes now, and it's dark, and it's raining, and the mother's going crazy now. Oh, Lord Jesus, oh, hello. Eliza's just losing. Oh, I'm gonna die, man. Oh, whoa, no, what's wrong with me? Oh, I ain't gonna pollute my body with medications. Madeline's bringing her some kind of medication, but Eliza refuses to take it for some reason, and they don't know what to do. And so they think that the best thing to do is to go and speak with Mr. Longfellow about potentially maybe having him go and talk to Eliza, seeing as he was her boss for a really long time. Maybe she's the only one that he'll listen to. So it's Roderick and Madeline doing this. They show up at Longfellow's house, and of course Longfellow, what are you two doing here again? I thought I told you not to come around these parts. You want me to tell your mother to go to the doctor? What you think I am, huh? Now you two get her out of here, or I'll call the cops on you too. Trespassing my property. Well, now if this were Florida, I'd have a gun and every right to shoot you. Wow. What? I mean, I think Florida does have some pretty wild gun laws, so I don't think he is wrong. I don't think he is, but I don't know where this is taking place. Hopefully not Florida. Sorry, Florida. Anyway, he refuses to help them, and they run back along to the house, and unfortunately the mother has died. So Eliza is dead. And they're trying to figure out what to do because, they didn't call the doctor. They wanted to call a doctor. They pleaded with Eliza, their mother, if they could call the doctor, but unfortunately she refused. She's dead. Now they don't know what to do. They can't take her to the hospital. They can't do anything about it, so they decide to build her a coffin. So there they go. Rainy night. And the two kids start putting away and just sawing away. And hammering away. And hammering away. Anyway, they build a coffin, and they put their mother Eliza in, and they bury her in the front yard, and, job well done. On to the next day. It's a rainy night. And all of a sudden, what's going to happen here? It's Roderick and Madeline, and they're asleep. Again, it's a rainy night. It's thundering, and it's raining. And they're sleeping together in the same room because, they're scared. Their mother just died. They don't know what to do. So Roderick gets up amidst the thunderstorm and looks outside through his window, and he sees a hole in the ground where they buried their mother and their makeshift coffin destroyed, but no sign of the body. Ew. So they go downstairs. He goes downstairs first. Roderick does. Peeks outside and notices that the mother is in fact gone. They don't know what to make of it. Then the sister, Madeline, joins him shortly after. And then they see a trail of footsteps back into their house. And they're looking inside their house, and it's real dark. No light. Not even candlelit. He turns around, and his mother grabs him by the neck and starts choking him. Mommy, what are you doing? Why are you choking me, Mommy? Please stop. And she continues to choke him, unfortunately. Somehow, for some reason, she realizes what she's doing, and thankfully, she stops. But at the same time, this now resurrected Eliza marches her way to guess where? That's right, you guessed it. William Longfellow's house, Fortunato CEO. So she goes to his house as he himself is also experiencing power loss like Roderick and Madeline's house were. And he's outside with a flashlight. What's going on? Who's out there? Huh? Who are you? Get on over here so I can see you clearly. Who is this? And all of a sudden, she just starts choking him. Oh, Lord Jesus, what are you doing?
Mud lady. Oh, did you just come from some mud run or something? Oh, God, I'm dying. Oh, my truck. Oh.
She chokes him to death. You're being real graphic in this. That's a lot of. That's 2 times he's been choking now. He's a real good choking lady. Yeah, she's quite good at it. The things you learn in the afterlife, huh? Oh, now come on. Now, that don't mean she learned that in the afterlife. You don't know where she went. I think I know. What are you implying? That she didn't go to heaven? Well, I'm not going to imply anything. You don't come back from heaven and start choking people, though, do you? Well, I mean, I get your point. All right. So she kills him. And this is all, again, 1962. She kills him, and of course, there's no like newspaper media, and that stuff was not what it is today. What do you mean newspaper media? We're not talking about the social media. Don't you have Instagram? And don't you have the TikTok? And don't you have the X, formerly Twitter? Don't you have those things? Of course, I'm just saying, it wasn't like that back then. Back then, you could get away with more stuff and lie to the newspaper, especially if you had money and power. Oh, like the infinity paper with the money and the power again, huh? You can just get away with anything as long as you're rich, huh? Yep. So to save everybody the embarrassment of William Longfellow being murdered, they said he had a heart attack or something. I think that was the official cause of death. And now, we flash forward again to Roderick. And now, he is the CEO of Fortunato Pharmaceuticals, and he's had 6 children. And the beginning shot of one of the beginning shots of the show is him mourning the loss of his, I think, 3 eldest children. There are pictures over the coffins, casket, and they're at church. And at the church is also his wife, his sister Madeline, and his attorney. And what was his attorney's name? Do you remember? Yeah, I do remember. His name is Arthur Pym. But that's not like the Ant-Man one. That's a different one. That's Hank Pym. But maybe they're related. I don't know. Yeah, Arthur Pym. Played by the one and only Mr. Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. Oh, you do like the Star Wars movies. Last time you brought up a reference about the father and the son, and now he's in this show. Is that the only reason why you chose this show? You like the Luke Skywalker, don't you? I do like the Luke Skywalker. I'm not going to lie, but I had no idea he was in his. So kind of a cool treat. So he's the attorney. He is Arthur Pym. He's Roderick's attorney. So anyway, we don't know what's happened to the children. They've all died. He's had 6 children from 5 different women, as he's mentioned. Children's names, I think, Frederick, Tamerlane, Victorine, Leo, Camille, Perry. I think that's all their names. And he's at this funeral for the 3 oldest children. And I think they are, well, I don't remember exactly when. But he's accompanied by Juno and Lenore, an important name. Lenore. Yeah, I know that from the Raven, Lenore. And they're all at the funeral. And then eventually, the U.S. Attorney General is invited to his childhood home because he wants to recount how all of his children have died. And it's a beautiful scene here too, because it's Arthur. I'm sorry, it's his name is the Attorney General is Auguste Dupont. He's French, and he's invited over to Roderick's childhood home, the home where his mother almost choked him to death, the home where we'll find out in just a second here. But anyway, Dupont accepts the invitation and meets Roderick in his childhood home. And again, now it's dilapidated. Paint is peeling and it's candlelit and it's beautiful and it's dark. Did I mention how it's dark, but it's not too dark and it's just beautiful? Well, it is. And as Dupont enters the house, Roderick sits there in not quite total darkness, but just slightly candlelit. And it's beautiful. It's beautifully set up. And of course, he invites him to have a really expensive drink, and he makes a point of saying something along the lines of, Well, Mr. U.S. Attorney General, I really appreciate the fact that you showed up to my house, and because of that, and thanks to you, thank you for your courtesy, I'd like to offer you now this beautiful, expensive whiskey that is twice and 3 times as worth the 4th to the 5th power of your yearly salary to the 3rd power and doubled. This is worth that much. And Depone's all business. You know, he wants to know what the hell's happened to his children. And he's there for that. No other reason. But he accepts the glass and sits down and tells them, hey, all right, I'm here. He's actually not French, but he has a French last name. But I'm here. Roderick, you must tell me the truth about what happened to your children. I want to do everything. I want to know everything now. And Roderick says, sure, I will tell you absolutely everything about how my 6 children have died. And Augustine's like, what? You must use it under oath. We cannot accept this confession because your lawyer is not present. Arthur Pym, of course, who we mentioned earlier. And, importantly, Roderick waves his right to his attorney and starts recounting his tale. And this is where the story is going to start to begin. This is, again, an 8-part story. In the midst of all of this, we see scenes where, in flashbacks, we see all 6 of his children and what they do. I think one of them is a gaming mogul. One of them is a surgeon. One of them is an entrepreneur. Frederick, I think, doesn't necessarily do anything. There's a socialite. There's like somebody that's a head of PR. Camille. Perry is the socialite. Perry is the socialite. The heir is Frederick, I think. And then the entrepreneur is Tamerlane. Victorine is the surgeon. And we see shots of them with their spouses. And they're all part of the huge family. And he makes it a point to say that Roderick does. If you are part of the Usher family, the doors are always open to you. And that, in fact, is the case. Anyway, I forgot to mention something really important. When he's sitting in the church mourning the loss of his 3 children in the initial shots of the show, there is someone haunting him. There's a woman with a raven mask behind him. But he's the only one that sees it. She's only there momentarily. But we don't know who she is right now. She's haunting him, though. Anyway, we get to know who the children are a little bit and what they do for a living. And eventually, we find out that there is a trial, or they're about to go to trial, because someone has given information to the U.S. Attorney General, Augustus Dupont, about the corruption that happens at Fortunato Pharmaceuticals. So someone in the family is a rat. You know what a rat is? Are you talking about like when somebody is supposed to be like a loyal member of the family, but they're not, and then they go and talk to like the police or something like that? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So somebody in the family is giving away family and company secrets that it could potentially make the Usher empire crumble, the Fortunato Pharmaceuticals empire crumble. So he doesn't know who it is. And so he calls a meeting. So there's this beautiful shot of all the family members gathered at this amazing table. And he tells his children, someone at this table is a rat. And I want to know who that is. And because nobody here is going to stand up and say that it's them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer everyone here $50 million to the person who finds the rat in this family. And he in fact does that. He offers the entire family, spouses, children, everybody included, $50 million to the person who tells him who is the one that's selling company secrets, who is the one that's selling the family out. Beautiful. Anyway, there's another flashback scene to 1979, 1980, which is, I think, a continuation of the initial flashback scene where they're at a bar, Roderick and Madeline are, and they meet a woman here the bartender. Now, the bartender, interestingly enough, she looks very much like the woman who's wearing the raven mask. Her name is Venma. And they're there to, talk about their plans of taking over the world and, conquering the unconquerable, moving the unmovable, being the unstoppable force. And Venma's like, well, you go ahead and make your New Year's resolution, whatever that may be. And they're at, at this New Year's Eve party in 1980. And that's sort of it for that flashback scene. But then we see another interesting scene. We flash forward to the future. We see now Roderick exiting the church and he's walking towards his limousine. And he sees his second vision as he's walking into his limousine. Opens the door. And he sees this creepy court jester looking thing. And he falls to the ground, presumably having a heart attack or something. And Madeline rushes to his side and says to the driver or to, a member of his entourage, get him to this hospital to see this doctor and this doctor only, and make sure they close down the entire goddamn wing. And Roderick mumbles under his breath, it's time. And that's it. That's how the episode ends. Woo, what a cliffhanger. I don't like cliffhangers. I know, you said before, you don't like cliffhangers. You know what the thing is, there's an episode immediately available. So if you really want to binge on this, you can totally binge on this. So there's no real cliffhanger here. This is just the ending of the first part. But I absolutely loved it. I'm going to give this one a rating anyway, even though it's not a movie. I'm going to give this episode a 7 out of 10. Beautiful episode. Too many things that I really, really enjoyed. And 7 out of 10 because it's a miniseries and I feel like we still need to leave room for potentially better episodes. That's going to be it for the very first episode of The Fall of Usher House, a Midnight Dreary. And until next time, we'll see you here on Rick's Horror Review Show. No, Rick's Rated R Horror Review Show. That's right, Rick's Rated R Horror Review Show. Thanks for joining us tonight.